Manage access using shared access signature. See, one way of working with Azure storage is get the access to the access key. Once you know the access key and if you know the storage account name, you can connect to that storage using Storage Explorer. You don't even need a Azure account. You just need the storage account name and you need the access key, and through Storage Explorer we connect and we start working with it. Let me show you this. Storage Explorer. I click on add an account, use the connection string, give the display name, and I take the connection string, let's say from, basically we can form a connection string, but here it's available, I'll directly copy. It has default endpoint, account name, account key, that's all. This I mention here and we are done. We are already connected actually. So adding new connection, still doing it. So as it is connecting, let us go back here. Let's try to understand what is this now. So what we want to do now is, instead of giving SAS token, instead of giving the access key, which gives them complete control, I would like to give a SAS key so that we can get a limited control. Access key, full control. SAS key, limited control. That is the major difference between them. So what is SAS? Shared access signature is a URI that grants restricted access rights to the Azure storage. That storage can be a blob, or it can be even a container. You can generate a SAS token for a container. You can generate a SAS token for a blob. You can provide a shared access signature to clients who should not be trusted with your storage account key. That's what I said. But whom you wish to delegate access to certain storage account resources. You can grant them access to the resource for a specific period of time. I can say that for next 3 days I want to give access to my storage. And for those 3 days only I'll generate a SAS token. SAS token that can be appended to the URL that enables delegated access to the storage. Anyone who possesses the SAS token can access resource it points with the permission it specifies and for a limited period of time. So SAS token gives you that advantage. Now there are two things you can do. The authentication key and the storage account name, which I just showed you, you can use for working with storage account, or you can grant access using the shared access signature. And there can be two policies, basically that should come first. There has to be a policy also. There is some concept of policy also, which makes the whole thing little confusion. So there are two types of SAS token now. One is called as service SAS token and the other is called as account SAS token. Now account SAS token is generated at the account level, storage account level. That means it can be used for not only one particular blob or its container, but also it can be used for tables, queues and files. It is at the account level. That's why it is called as account SAS token. Globally, it can be used for all the storage services in Azure. Whereas service SAS token is specific to a particular service. You will use it either for only blob or only queue or only table or only file. Any one only you can use this service SAS token for. So that's the basic difference between account SAS and service SAS. So account SAS is used for account level, service SAS is used for only one particular service. So let's first see, it's pretty easy how to generate an account SAS token. Come to your storage and here you have got SAS. Shared access signature. And you can choose, do you want it to work with blob, files, table, queue, all of them or only few of them. If it is blob, do you want container level, or if it is queue or table, is it at object level? What are the kind of permissions you want to allow? Like we have not seen, but especially when we work with tables and queues, we do a lot of read operations, write operations, delete operations, list operations. These are pretty common. So in case we want, we can put check mark for those operations which we want and those which we don't want. We can limit. You can say that only from this date to this date the SAS token is valid. Right now it is around what? Let's change it. Maybe for a day. You can specify this is time in which zone. Based on your country, you can probably specify a time zone. Do you want this to be used only over only over HTTPS or on both? And which storage key you should use? Now, why this storage key is important? Later, if you invalidate the storage key, the SAS token automatically becomes invalid. This key, if you regenerate, you create a new key, automatically this whole thing will be gone and this SAS token will become invalid. So I clicked on generate SAS token and you see we got the SAS token for all of them. If you want to work with general connection string, this is what you have to use now as the connection string. And in the connection string only this SAS token will be there. Let me copy this into Notepad. So I'll take this in Notepad and you see here we have got date, basically some kind of write operations, read operations, I believe. No, it is blob, file, queue, table, all four of them. Then resource type, service container, object, SCO, all three. I want all permissions, read, write, all these, R, W, D, L, A, C, U, P, from start, service start date, end date, and then the signature. Now everything is actually there in this. Using all these values, this encrypted string is generated. If any one of this, if you change, obviously this string will not be same. And you cannot generate this string on your own unless you have this key 1. So there is an algorithm which is internally used by Azure for generating this particular signature based on all other parameters. So this signature and all other parameters together alone will work. But this is the SAS token. How to prove it that this is valid? Copy. Let's say I go to the storage. We have a private blob created. I'll copy this URL and put it here before question mark. Copy this whole thing, paste it in browser, and you'll see that the file is downloaded. It's opening. I'm able to open the file. Likewise, let's change a bit just as a proof that it's working. Let's say I want this to work till 15. Now copy this URL, paste it in browser. It should not work. So through portal, we are able to generate an account SAS token. An account SAS token is same for all. Remember that. This is the PowerShell command in case you want to use PowerShell command for creating a SAS token, account SAS token. No, sorry, that PowerShell for account SAS is not here. But let's look at now service SAS. How is service SAS used? Now in service SAS, of course, I've already shown you in the first demo itself. In the portal itself, when you go to a particular blob, you can say generate SAS. This SAS is specific to that particular blob. So what kind of permission you want to give? Read, create, write, delete. You can choose that. From which date to which date. You can also restrict the IP address. Actually in account SAS also you have the provision. You can say from these IP address only the request should be accepted. From other IP addresses of the client it should not be accepted. So you can give a list of allowed IP addresses which can be given as comma separated values, or you can even give hyphen and separate them, starting number to ending number, and generate a SAS token. I have already showed you this is also working. But this is done through portal. Now there is one more thing which I would like to show you here, that at the container level, this is the container. There is a provision called as access policy. I can add a policy here. Let's say demo policy. And for this policy, these are the permissions. From this date to this date, some random number I am choosing. A policy is created. Now what we do is, using this policy, we will create a SAS token. So go to, save this, go to overview, go to a particular storage, okay, portal is not giving you facility to create a SAS token based on policy. So basically it is like this actually. We can generate a SAS token using access policy. We can generate a SAS token using ad hoc policy. So two options are there. Using ad hoc policy, that means actually no policy. Ad hoc means no policy. We don't use policy. So automatically one ad hoc policy will be created for us. Or we first create a policy and then create a SAS token. Now what is the basic difference between these two? Now in case of access policy, which is the access policy which was used for generating the SAS token, tomorrow if I delete this access policy, the SAS token automatically becomes invalid. That's it. You don't have to do anything. So today, for some reason, I created an access policy and gave you a SAS token. And tomorrow, if I decide, no, I don't want you to continue using that SAS token to access my content, I will delete my access policy. So the demo access policy which I created, I will simply go and delete. Automatically the SAS token becomes invalid. But this advantage is not there in ad hoc policy. If I created an ad hoc policy and gave it to you, till that specified timeline, you will always have access to the content. I cannot expire your token. The only way I can do it is change the access key which was used for generating the SAS token. That I have to change, which is probably not the possible case in many situations. So I repeat once again, very important. Access policy based SAS token can be expired by deleting access policy. No policy or ad hoc policy based SAS token can never be expired. They will remain valid till the specified time frame. That is the basic difference between them. So portal is not giving you facility to use policy based SAS token. This is creating only ad hoc. But Storage Explorer gives you that facility. In Storage Explorer, some reason it's not connecting, I don't know why. But anyways, I'll go to that here, Storage Explorer, blob container. I have demo container on which I can right click and say manage access policies. One policy we have already created. Why is it not here? On demo container, I think I created on private images. Manage access policy. You see a demo policy is already there. And it gives read, write, delete and list permissions. So now what I can do, I can right click on any of the blob and say get SAS and choose here a access policy. And we don't have to give all these details now because access policy has all these details. And say create. And I got the SAS token with URL. I can copy this, paste it, and it works. It's working. I say cancel. I go back and I now right click on this, go to again access policy, and I remove this access policy now. I deleted the access policy. Now I come back to the browser, paste the same URL which I saved before and say enter. It will not download the file. Why? The access policy got deleted, the SAS token got invalid. But if I directly right click here and say get shared access signature and I say none here and specify all these details which earlier I was specifying in policy, the policy which is created is ad hoc shared access policy. I can simply copy this and use it, and there is no way this URL can be expired. Only on that day and time which was specified it will expire. It will not expire otherwise. So very, very, very important from the interview point of view, certification point of view, compulsory you should know what is the difference between the shared access policy and the shared access policy using SAS token using shared access policy, SAS token using ad hoc policy. Now these things can be done through, we can also use PowerShell. Same things. These are the PowerShell commands. And one more thing I forgot. You can create a SAS token at the container level. You can use a access policy, and for container you are generating a SAS token. Now for a container with or without policy, again same story. With or without access policy, you can generate a SAS token. Now the SAS token which is generated at the container level, you can use it for all these blobs. Many times we need that. So this is my I can use it for close. I can now use it for this. Let's say its URL I copy. First one, and another blob URL also I copy. And you'll notice that both of them are working. Same token is now working because it was created at the container level. Press enter. We are getting the file. I say cancel. Go to new tab and use this. And this also works there. This also it's opening. Both the files are working. So SAS token can be generated either at container level or can be generated at the file level. Both the places. And same thing I was saying, you can do it through storage. Through PowerShell. So here you see we are creating a container stored access policy. Test policy is the name. Once the policy is created, we'll use the test policy for creating the SAS token. And this is container. Like that, blob is for blob. So here and here, it's the same command actually. New Azure storage container, new Azure storage container SAS token, same command. But here we are mentioning the policy. Here there is no policy. And because policy is not there, we have to mention the start time, end time and the permission and everything over here directly. So what this returns is the SAS token, and that SAS token you can print it. So this is container SAS token and the other one would be blob SAS token. So SAS is very important thing which we use it in our routine whenever we are working with storage account. So I once again repeat, there are two ways of authenticating with storage account. One is the storage key and the storage name. Other is the shared access signature, SAS token. SAS token with or without policy. There are two types of SAS token, account SAS and service SAS. Account SAS is at the account level, that means it can be used for all the services, whereas service SAS is for only one particular service at a time. It can be created for blob separately, queue separately, table separately and file separately, but not together. A common SAS token will not work for all of them, but a common account SAS token does work for all of them. SAS tokens can be created through portal, can be created through storage explorer, and I have also shown you we can create through PowerShell. Once the SAS token is created, for the URL you have to append, to the URL you have to append the SAS token. The signature is the most important part of every SAS token. When we work with the service SAS, portal gives you provision to create a service SAS token which is ad hoc SAS token, that too for a blob. But if you want to do it for container, and if you want to create a SAS token which is policy based, then you'll have to do it through either storage explorer or you have to do it through code, where you first generate a policy and that policy you use it in multiple places on need basis. So that's all about SAS token.